I've been listening on and off. I'm not like totally vibing with him, but he was part of the TM. Did you do TM, Duke?
I got initiated into TM and I know a ton of TM people, but I haven't been in Fairfield.
Okay, that's absolutely fine.
But everybody knows each other. So
You know,
I've
it's
got a
like,
bunch of I have a bunch of TM friends.
yeah, so I never did the TM. I was tempted to for a while, but it was like it wasn't my, I don't even know why. It just
Yeah,
didn't.
you didn't vibe to it.
Yeah, but anyway, so there was a beautiful blessing, and I think it was more, really starting in the 80s. I think I wasn't ready for that at that time. And then, I was in Beverly Hills and this attunement and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, but this guy who I sent the video of, I don't even know where he's from. I think he's from some Czechoslovakia or Russia or something. But he wrote a beautiful book that I'm interested in reading actually, and it's about deep tantra. Okay, and tantra is basically this transformation, like we're living life and we're taking it all in, and then whatever comes our way, it's part of the lesson. So in tantra they kind of don't ignore anything, they just take it in. So if you want to eat meat. If you want to do this and that, you do this and that. So, but he sits down as a satsang and he has his patients or students and so on and so forth. And once you sit on a high chair in front of others, there's a certain responsibility or a role that you take on. And I just wanted to talk about that. He also, his book um, was signed and from Deepak Chopra, and he slipped into the Epstein files, and whoop, the other one. So it's just a little bit about sharing today, like what does it mean to be on a spiritual path? What does it mean to have a body? What does it mean to look for awakening? And also these communities that are created, like us, like I see all of you as my teachers, and it is like a sharing more than a teacher-student situation. And I'm always super mindful of keeping it in that way because we learn together, right? I just get to be luckily, thinking up about what we should talk about, or actually, I don't even think it up. It just comes to me, and then I present it, and we can kind of. There's always like everything that we do in life is a little bit of an unfolding, a deepening, and a lesson, and it depends on how we use these examples to create more knowledge and awareness of who we are, what we want to accomplish. One of the meditations we did not so long ago, we were asking ourselves, like, who am I now? Or what am I? How did I come here? What was I coming here for? Right? And by asking these questions, we always have a new approach. So, the example from this teacher, he said, "Oh, okay, now Deepak Chopra, he did help my mom with his, one of his million books, and that's great. So he was in service in that way. And then, he did whatever he did. And then this gentleman was saying, like, how the spiritual communities have a tendency to love to put somebody on the pedestal and love to push somebody off the pedestal, right? Uh, Meanwhile, towards the end of this whole long explanation, he had had certain meetings with Deepak Chopra through his business, so on and so forth. He even filmed him at some, that gas pump interviewer. And but then he had his own book endorsed by Deepak Chopra. And he was basically saying, now that everybody has something to do with Deepak Chopra, they want to not, they take it all down. So they're not getting entangled in that energy. But what I wanted to just take from that example is like, if we see something, if we witness something, us even just listening to that interview or, hearing about the files or whatever, which I really have not followed at all, listened to anything directly, but then we are aware of it. When we are aware of it, we have some form of a relationship with it. So we can stay, like I always have been teaching you through my detox workshops, lay low, fly under the radar. Don't get too engaged and don't become disengaged, right? There's a fine line. So this is kind of the preparation of where I wanted to go today with the discussion, right? So at the end of the video, I was so surprised because the guy kind of changed his whole thing. And then he said, well, I was endorsed by him because you do get more followers. You do get more, benefits. So he was also in that at the end of the discussion, meaning he was also using the fame of somebody else to get more exposure, and what is the background for this exposure? Was it to make more money, or was it to be in service of more? And only he knows. So I'm just going to leave it up. Only he knows. Okay. So I'm gonna. You want to? I'll pause the record. Okay, so wherever we go is where we go, and whatever we choose is what we choose. But what I am encouraging is to be able to choose from your own point of view, right? To be very in your own heart. So when we came into this life, right, we knew that we're going to take the veil of forgetting, right? We knew that was going to happen. So who was I before I went under the veil of forgetting? Okay, who have I been? Who did I choose to come in to be this time? And why did I choose to come in this way? And it's like a deep contemplation here I'm inviting us to be. And just, I love Rudolf Steiner, and I love the Rosicrucianism, which basically state that the purpose here is to create love and freedom and spiritualize, the physical part. So as we went into the forgetting and we started to become very more logical, our perception of what beings are actually walking through our experience and our existence every day became a little less clear. Okay, and many cannot even sense if you're walking into a field or a room. Remember how we're talking about what is the ambience in the room when you're walking in? Can you feel energy streaming through? Okay, let's place ourselves in a spiritual field of the highest love and light. So I'm just going to bring in the Reiki and place yourself in a pillar of light from the heart of the grand central sun through your whole physical being into your earth star chakra and into the center of our beautiful fifth dimensional planet now. And we place ourselves in a golden sphere of light as well. And let's play with these ideas. If we're creating a sense of freedom and love, we can always contemplate what is the opposite of freedom? Feeling trapped, being angry, feeling, that you're lacking of something. What is the opposite of love? Maybe it is fear or, judgment or something like that. So how can we choose a skillful way and how to conduct ourselves without the judgment, without the hype, right? Without the hype. How can we lay low and fly under the radar and learn from everybody? Because at some point we'll realize that we're all at one. So our point of coming in here and creating this love and freedom is that we realize ourselves in our own unique way. So I'm bringing in a lot of concepts here, like we are, the snowflake that is unique and beautiful and structured in a certain way, that we are holding this sacred geometry, and at some point we'll melt into the collective, right? We become the water. So with the self-realization that we are, pursuing, talking about, becoming mindful and working through, how can we choose that correct, skillful way? How can we choose our pathway on earth? And how can we, let our I am presence, our soul self guide us without being tempted to fall into judgment and blame, and this one did that, this one did this, right? So as we live our daily life, why don't we open up the crown of the head and receive your I am presence. Let it stream in you, on you, through you, and about you. And just breathe in your essence and ask that you will be shown the way of how to live for and through the highest and greatest good for yourself, but through your self-realization. Remember, when you work on yourself, you're lifting the vibration up from everyone around you. So there are beings always supposed to be here, but they do float through us. Some are negative aspects, some are from the more physical aspect of wanting us to go down in gravity, that is heavy duty, feeling, want prosperity in monetary things and stepping over somebody, power over somebody. There are those forces around us. Then there are kind of more the luciferian forces, which are screw it, it's all about feeling good, who cares? But then we don't have responsibility for our own self. Maybe we just want to be high all the time, high on spirit or high on whatever. So how can we be grounded and spiritual and walk this skillful way and connect upward and know that you are unique and special, and that is your brand, that is who you are. You're supposed to be the way you are when you are your true authentic self. Then we have a lot of programs as well. Okay, so how can we get so centered that despite what is happening around us or sometimes through us, or we know how we love that spiritual vibration when the energy comes through, how that feels so beautiful. How can we choose to stay centered and receive this remembrance of our gifts, using our gifts, our CDs, for the highest and the greatest good and in service to all that is? Okay? When we can create a sense of love and freedom within ourselves, things are much easier. But when we have swung the pendulum to one side, it might be a little more heavy and judgmental. Okay. And what I am encouraging myself to do is to really know, okay, what is coming my way today? How can I take everything that happens as a positive? For example, this morning I had a wonderful phone call with a bookkeeper, because I don't know how anything works there in Sweden. And the first thing he said, "Hi, I also followed my dream and created my company, and I'm doing great." And I was like, well, that's a wonderful thing to hear in the morning. Okay, so I was like so happy about that. I had a wonderful call. And then I thought, oh, maybe I should get out of here before I start painting and go to the gym. So I went into the car and the car didn't start. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So I called the car guy and he's like, oh, wow. Oh, we're so sorry. I said, doesn't matter because now I can paint all day. So I ended up painting all day and they will just bring me another car a little bit later on, because I said, tomorrow I do need to have the car. So that was another positive thing, right? But it could have been a negative thing, but I chose to say, okay, great. And I got so much done. So I felt very good about that. So whatever happens around us, through us, and for us, how can you conjure up a storyline without looking at, your own darkness, or your own insecurities, but really acknowledge, oh, I feel heavy, I feel this and that, or I've gone through something, but I understand that, but now I choose to lift myself up or to look at my life and choose my own pathway on earth. And one way of doing that is to ask, who was I before the veil of forgetting? Why did I come here to earth today? And that might change through our life. So I'm going to pause now, and I just wanted to see if you have something to reflect upon. And how are you holding yourself here in the neutral? The neutral sounds very unexciting, but it is actually pretty exciting. Okay, pausing record. Okay, so after here, we had a little discussion. We're just gonna bring in Para Devi, Divine Mother. We're gonna just sit for a moment in this contemplation and this little pause as these beautiful, high vibrational energies of your I am presence and your soul self are sharing with you what your uniqueness is. When we stop, contemplate, feel, and receive and co-create into this unity, consciousness, and love, we are creating in love and freedom. So let this energy just run through you from the crown of your head, incoming your divine blueprint, your truth, your authentic self. Just breathe in this beautiful energy of respect, humility, gratitude, buoyancy, allowing for yourself to be crystal clear, choosing wisely as opposed to jumping in to assumption, but knowing that we all have a beautiful diamond shape in our heart with different facets, well polished. So we go here and hold this crystal, this diamond white light in our heart as we choose our pathway here on earth, as we connect in and up from our heart to the third eye, up to our I am presence. In love and freedom, we remember our purpose and we are remembering our gifts. And we claim our spiritual authority. As without judgment, we connect to wisdom that what we have experienced or are experiencing is always serving us in somehow. As we take this daily contemplation into heart and know that we're all on a journey. So when we respect our own journey, we can then hold everybody else in their highest light and respect their journey as well, because we never know that day of a life review, maybe that annoying one or this and that, or your family or your mother or your father that you thought were like absolutely not on the spiritual path, maybe they are the masters. We never know. So we're just willing to learn, willing to open our heart more and more. And as we look within and take to heart our own uniqueness, our way of being, our guidance, what we have accomplished and not accomplished, what we have suffered and not suffered, when we bring this into heart, we are expressing our uniqueness. And by being in that unique love, freedom frequency, we are in service through ourselves for the highest and the greatest good. So thank you for co-creating today's discussion. Thank you for being here and sharing your uniqueness, your words, your thoughts, your depth, your truth, so that we can all hold our own truth and be willing to learn and to share and to adjust and to receive and to admire and reclaim our innate truth. We call in Devi, Mahakali, the divine creation of Shakti, as we chant together today the Shakti Gayatri Mantra, beginning with the sacred syllable of Om. Om. I'm claim, claim, claim. Sound, sound, sound. Om Purvasvaha Tatsavanturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayate. Om Bhurvat Suvaha Tatsavantur Varenyam Bargo Devatsya Dhimahi Dio Yonat Prashodaya Om Bhurvat Svaha Tatsavantur Varenyam Bargo Devatsya Dhimahi Dio Yonat Prachodaya Om I claim sound Shanti Shanti Shanti. Just allowing that divine light frequency serve you today as you claim your innate truth, as you remember and take that spiritual authenticity and anchor in and take time to feel and look and be playful and know humbly internally that when you share your truth, when you hold that uniqueness, you are in service through you for the highest and the greatest good for all. Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is.